Yo, what's up? What's up? Coming to you live from Titletown, USA this week, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and DC and Louisiana eventually. We are the Crossover Sports Podcast, episode 70. This is the 70th episode. Ooh, my bad, make it sound old. This is our 70th episode, and right now I'm rocking out with the women of the crossover podcast, Amina and Courtney. We are rocking out. I apologize for the lateness. I lost track of time because we were chatting and the time escaped me. So I definitely apologize for that one. But yeah, so we got some hot takes. This is where you can find the realest sports and cultural hot takes on the internet. So I'm gonna let the ladies reintroduce themselves. Go ahead, Courtney.
Hey everyone, this is Courtney dialing in from DC. Happy to be with y'all today. It's kind of dreary here, so that's pretty much all I got to add to that, but excited to get started.
Amina.
Hello, it's Amina coming to everyone live from the city of Philadelphia. We're just about 1 week post Eagles win, and city's still in winning mode. So let's get started with the podcast.
All right. Yo, you guys know how we start this show off. Before our new listeners, we start this show off with our crossover hot. These are topics that don't necessarily have to do with, but because of this week and what happened this week with everything going on, it's a more sports focused thing. We are definitely rocking out with that. So the first the the first the first question, my bad. Let me get my thoughts together. Is guys, why do we hold? I mean, there's multiple examples of this, but why do we hold? Oh, we're going to approach this from this. So, the Eagles won the title, and some of them have already said they're not going to the White House. You know, this is nothing new with the current person in the White House. So far, Chris Long, Torrey Smith, and I believe somebody else. The third name escapes me, but I think it is so far Torrey Smith, Chris Long, and maybe it's Alshon Jeffrey, who have said that they're not going to the White House. And Torrey Smith said, I'm not going to the White House because I don't agree with the man in the White House. He had a much more eloquent statement than that. I'm just quoting a little bit of what he said. He had a very, very good analogy for this. But guys, so the question is, based on that and based on other people like Amina's Golden State Warriors, who said we're not going to the White House for basically the same thing and everything else. So, guys, why do we hold our athletes to higher standards than our politicians? And, everybody says these athletes, when they say stuff like that, stick to sports, stick to what you're good at, which is really funny because these are the same people that voted for Donald Trump. But we're gonna leave that one alone. Why do we hold our athletes to higher standards than our politicians? Go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a great question because politicians are the ones who really have all the power here in the US, and they make laws and they kind of direct where things are going, and yet somehow we place more time and energy on our sports athletes than on our politicians. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the news, with the media, with like celebrity status, and that I feel like a lot of people are more likely to know, be able to name off like 10 football players or 10 NBA players, and they are to be able to name off like 10 people in the US Senate, just kind of given how much media coverage and talk and publicity and like videos are shared about athletes as they are about politicians. And I think a lot of that is just us needing to change the topic a little bit and needing to kind of like bring to the forefront a little bit more in our cultural conversation that like we do need to be concerned and worried about who the people are who are leading our governments in Washington, leading our governments in our states, leading our governments locally, leading our like education boards. But people are lazy, and when you're scrolling through Facebook, if it's not some egregious political statement, or if you're not in a friend group of people who were government majors in college, you're probably not seeing what's going on in politics, but you are seeing what's going on with a basketball player who got arrested last week, or an NFL player who was charged with sexual assault or something like that. And it just makes it easier to backlash, I think, on people that you're seeing more in the news versus people that you're seeing less in the news. Because if you don't know what's going on, then you can't be outraged about it. And I think a lot of it is just we just don't know what's going on with politicians, which is definitely something that needs to change.
Go ahead, Amina.
I gotta agree with what Court was saying about how it's so easy for most people to know 10 professional athletes over 10 political figures. Um, I think it has to do with the exposure at people's personal lives because athletes they're on the same level as say music artists and people out there in the entertainment world. Everyone knows everyone. I mean, most people know of, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Beyonce, those types of people. But when you talk about your state senator, your mayor, I mean, it's people my age. I'm 24 in May. I know people who are around my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, who still think that Mayor Nutter is still the mayor of Philadelphia when he hasn't been in 2 years, going on three, just about. It's like it's very interesting, like how your environment can shape how you view the world. Not many people, especially young people, the youth, they're forefront of society today, are concerned about what's going on in Washington. I mean, you could post status, an article, or a video concerning something from Washington D.C. Their local government or state government, and it just doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter as long as it doesn't personally impact their lives. But a sports figure is held to a higher degree, from what I see of people, is because people out here look up to them. They look up to their example. They look up to them for courage. They look up to them for a means to emulate themselves in life after. Sports figures have gotten more political these days, um, especially in the Colin Kaepernick era of, standing up for police brutality against it and all that. Sports figures of all sports have turned into unelected sports officials now. So, from what I noticed, people have no need to pay attention to a senator or a U.S. House rep or a governor or a city councilman because people have been disadvantaged by them over the years, lied to. We vote you people vote these people in every election and they don't come through with their campaign promises, none of them. So it's people got to the point where say, hey, screw them. But when you have a sports athlete that says, oh, I'm going to pledge $1 million over a course of a year to various charities, like Colin Kaepernick did over there, they're going to pay attention to that because Colin Kaepernick came through and he actually gave the $1 million. So I think it has to do with keeping their word bond how they impact those that are fans of theirs and all that, because most people aren't discussing what especially young people. A majority of young people are not discussing what a politician said or did on television or on their social media feed. They're not. They're talking about what a singer said, what a rapper said, what a basketball player said, what a football player said or did. That's what's most important to them. Most young people are gonna keep up with LeBron James over Donald Trump, and one of them is not our president. So that's truth right there. When you look at situations that's going on here. So I mean, athletes and politicians, they have their purposes, but one historically doesn't come through with any of their promises, and the other sometimes does. So I think it has to do with personal preference over what is important to you in your life that you pay attention to. But that's what I have to say about that.
Okay. Right now we're on. Why do we hold our athletes to higher standards than our politics? And we're looking at it from right now. We're looking at it through the lens of the Eagles. A couple of Eagles players saying that they're not 45, and the reaction to that. So you go right ahead with your reaction to why we hold our athletes to higher standards than these politicians.
Oh, were you talking to me or somebody else?
No, I'm talking to
Talking
you.
to you.
Well, if we're gonna beat a dead horse, right? I think we are beating a dead horse. Look, this is my feeling on the whole. We hold athletes, pop stars to a higher standard than politicians. We expect our politicians to pretty much do their job, to uphold the law, to change some wrongs that should be righted, and the like. Let me tell you something. When did we as a people become the moral police of the entertainment industry, the athletics, and the like, even in politics? When did we as a people become the moral police? Where does somewhere it says, well, you have to have a moral standing to have a job? Last time I checked, even the bum on the street somewhere has some type of hustle somewhere, some way, somehow. You have to make some type of living to survive out here in the world today. To sit here and say you do not deserve this because of your life is extremely judgmental. You have to, as long as you work hard and do what you got to do it the right way, we're cool with that. But it's the fact that if you did it the wrong way, we got a problem with that. Now, you can choose. Look, in this great land of ours called the United States of America, you can choose what the hell you want to do as far as you want to, stop by the president or not. That is your right. That is your prerogative. I mean, just like the time when Mr. Tom Terrific, turned down Obama. You know what? I may have disagreed with his stance, but he has that right. And you know what? Who can say yes or no to that? But when you got someone that says, hey, 3, if not more, people are going to the White House, then that's their prerogative. I'm sick and tired of the fact of we hold people of the entertainment, athletics, high profile spots to become quote unquote role models. And I can't stand the term role models, because it's like you put these people at a very high pedestal. It's like they're God, for crying out loud. It's like once they fall or not even fall, they slip one way to the left or to the right, there's a problem. I'm like, let me tell you something. I got a problem with that. It's like saying I as a human being am not allowed to mess up, but I applaud those like LeBron James who do maintain their image and literally use their platform to not only to their advantage, but to advance causes and the like. I will not beat Colin Kaepernick because that's a horse that's already been dead, beaten, and still on life support. So, bottom line is simply this. What are we as a people doing? You know full damn well you have a president who's trying to incite World War III or Korea War II here. You know full well you got all these leaders out here that acting like as if they can't keep their pants on, keep their pants on, and stuff like that. And the bottom line is we're looking in the wrong direction and the wrong way for role models. If you want to look for a role model, look in your community. Look at where you go. They ain't far. You ain't got to go too far to find them. They're right around the corner even. So I don't want to hear the fact of, well, we got to hold athletes to a high standard. Look, they are human just like everybody else. And think about this. These athletes are in their 20s. In their 20s, if not, some in their early 30s, mid 30s, but most of these athletes are in their 20s. And so now, biologically, they are not psychologically, mature until they're 25. So they're gonna do early 20 things. They're gonna do crazy things. They're gonna do all sorts of things. That's what 20-somethings do. I did it. But it's, again, you have put yourself in the right people within the third. We can talk about that later. But it goes to this. You want to aspire to be this, you gotta work hard. That's all there is to it. You can work hard, you can emulate, what you do on the field. Off the field, that's on you. Off the field is on you. Because at the end of the day, you can't sit here and look, all the antics you see on the field, that's on the field. That's entertainment, and I'll say it again. Who are we to judge? Last time I checked, the judge is the Lord. Plain and simple. So I'm sick and tired of look, everybody and their mom is gonna fall in some way, shape, or form. It's up to us as a people to whether or not to understand, what? They're just as people, and if you're going to forgive or not. Now, I could go on this for days. I could go on this for a good old tirade for God knows how long because it's stupid. However, be that it may, they're people. They're going to do people things. It's us as a said people not to judge them based on their characteristics, because at the end of the day, people do people things, which chances are they are dumb, but you have to discern and teach the young ones what to do and what not to do, because every moment is a teachable moment, whether it's cute or not. It's life. Sorry. You gotta teach little junior, hey, you know what? That guy was, showing his wee to some. That's not cool. You gotta teach that. Every moment is teachable. Whether one athlete's doing a great job or one politician's doing the worst crap job you ever seen in your entire life, everything's teachable. So you can't you cannot judge everybody based on what he or she does. You might look, everything's a teachable moment. I can't stand this role model nonsense. Your role model is right at the home, if not right around the corner. Not to some like LeBron James or everybody else. That's great, but not here. No, done with it.
Woo! All right, Matt. Matt is upset. I told y'all he a diva, dog. Matt's upset. Comes in when he wants to and still insults the question. I'm joking.
I got three laws in the country.
Listen. All right. So I'm gonna go. Now I'm gonna let Trey go on what we're talking about here. So I agree with what Matt, Courtney, and Amina said that we hold these athletes way to a much higher standard than we hold our politicians. And I'm just gonna give a prime example, right? Now we know the highest watched sports event in the United States and in the world basically is the Super Bowl. Let's just take it from there. 106 million people. This is the current number of how many people watched the Philly versus Boston Super Bowl. 106 million people watched the Super Bowl last week. We were all probably one of them, right? And that's just the TV ratings. That's not counting the internet streaming and the different ways, because as Matt will readily point out and tell me, he's probably breathing the words I'm about to say right now. The ratings in 2018, the rating system has not caught up to the current way we view entertainment. They don't count streaming off of Amazon and any other way you stream the Super Bowl. YouTube streaming is not counted in these ratings. If it was, it'd probably be higher. But here's what I'll say. We can't even get 106 million people outside of a sporting event. Even the NBA does about 30 million, 40 million people when a game's on, right? We can't even get that amount of people to watch the State of the Union. Matter of fact, I think how many people watch State of the Union? Like 30, just based on who that was, right? It was like 30 or 60 million people that watched the State of the Union. Like I'm just.
I want to watch that.
I know nobody wants to watch that, but the point is, we can't even get that many people to pay attention to what Congress and the Senate are doing. Because let's be real, Congress and the Senate, matter of fact, I'll even go on a more basic level. You can't even get that many people to show up to a city council. I know in DC, a ward meeting, or you can't even get that many people to show up to a district meeting in their local things. Like honestly, we can't even do that. We can't get that many people to show up to a school board meeting. We can't get that many people to show up to a parent-teacher night. And the stuff and what politicians do in your city hall, in your city council, and whatever else you call it, depending on what town or city you live in, because it varies. Not everybody calls their thing a city council like we do in Philly. But you know, it nobody shows.
The term is municipality.
All right, municipality. No, I'm talking about what they call the counselors and the city council. I know it's a municipality, man. I'm talking about what they call the different meetings and stuff. So listen, like we can't even get that many people to show up to that, and yet LeBron James, matter of fact, Colin Kaepernick, since we referenced him, he did $100 million campaign. He lived by his word. I understand why we hold athletes to a higher standard, but like Matt said, the stuff should come at home. If you're not living up to what you're supposed to be doing at home, why are you holding LeBron James, Cam Newton, Tom Brady, and all these other people to higher standards than you hold Rand Paul? We just had a second part shutdown, and the reason most of these politicians get away with doing what they're doing is because they know none of y'all pay attention until November. They know none of y'all pay attention. Nobody pays attention. Nobody cares unless you work in DC, unless you live in DC, unless you're severely affected by what the government does. Not many people really care about that stuff. And this is what I wonder. I wonder if we could get 106 million people. I know it's boring to watch C-SPAN, if we can hold these politicians accountable. I submit that the reason why these politicians flip-flop a lot is because they know nobody pays attention. They know nobody's going to be like me or like Courtney or like Matt or like Trey or like Amina and fact check them on this stuff. They know that they can say what they want and change their position 2 months later when it really matters. They know they can tell y'all stuff because y'all don't watch. They know y'all care more about Colin Kaepernick taking a knee during the national anthem than you care about the fact that before you voted for him, when you shook their hand, they told you, yo, you know what? we're gonna fund that project that you want done in your town. We're gonna make the road smoother. And when it never happens, they know that y'all still gonna vote for it. Because you know what? You don't pay attention. We don't pay attention unless the black, white, whatever. We don't pay attention unless it really, really matters. Like in Philadelphia, they were shutting schools down. You know when it really mattered to people? When it started affecting their alma maters. When they were about to shut down Strawberry Mansion, it started mattering. When they were about to shut down King, it started mattering. You know, they've been shutting down schools for the last 2 to 4 years in this city. And it's
like mine.
In every big city. You know? They made
5 at the minimum.
They made Matt's old high school in the doors for Drexel kids. You know what? That's what they do. But nobody cares until it starts affecting them. And they know they can sneak stuff in when y'all paying attention because they know y'all care more about athletes than you do about politicians. And that is a problem. Courtney brought up the fact that you can name 5 athletes, but half of y'all can't even name your state senator, your government, your state senator, or your senator that represents you in DC. Half of y'all can't do it. I know who represents me. I know who my senator and representative are. Bob Brady. Both of them have Bobs in them. Bob Brady and Bob Casey. It's easy for me. Before that, my representative and my other representative in Congress is Dwight Evans. Before that, it was Shaka Fatah before he got arrested. But half of y'all can't even name y'all representatives. That's the problem. But you can name the whole starting 5 to the 76ers. You can name all 25, 30, however many Eagles there are. You can name all that. You can't name your politics. That's a problem. The reason this culture is allowed to fester is because they know y'all don't pay attention. They know y'all don't pay attention until it matters to you. They know you don't care until they threaten your high school with being turned into dorms. They know you don't care until they threaten to put an Amtrak station near where you live. They know you don't care until they want to put a WMATA bus route through where you live. They know you don't care until SEPTA calls about, oh, we're adding an addition to the subway station near you. They know you won't care until then. But you'll care about what LeBron James is doing. You'll care about what your local athletes are doing more than you'll care about your politicians. Go ahead, Trey.
Well, I'll agree with all y'all. And the idea that, in many cases we hold athletes to higher standards than our politicians. And, Colin, you made a great point with the whole Super Bowl. The numbers for the Super Bowl, and, it's at 106 million or whatever. And then that's not even including those who streamed the Super Bowl elsewhere. And I think that's just the reason why, because, for the most part, we're more passionate about sports, and it's okay to be passionate about sports. I mean, as Eagles fans, as an Eagles fan, I'm very passionate about the Eagles, especially now that they won a Super Bowl. But on the same token, I should be just as passionate, and if not more passionate, about politics, regardless of whether or not they affect me or not. Every once in a while I'll get into a conversation about politics with a person, and they'll mention that they don't really care about politics, or that politics bores them, and that's okay. If you feel that politics bores you to a certain extent. However, I think it's and what people don't understand, it's very important that you understand what's going on in politics. What laws are being put in place. Who's the mayor of, who's the governor of where you live, and maybe even, understanding just how the political system works in terms of, for the presidential election, uh, all the different elections that we have. But I think the reason why is because sports are more intriguing to the large majority of the United States, and so as a result, as Matt was talking about, if you were to ask a number of, if you were to go to 100 people and ask them who their role model is, I think you get a good number of people who might say, they're, a family member or someone who live, someone local. A good chunk of them would say some athlete, whether it be LeBron James, Tom Brady, Steph Curry, the major athletes and any of the number, any number of the major sports. And, typically you're not, unless the person you ask the question of has a desire to have a career in politics or journalism or something like that, where they have to be up to snuff on what's going on in politics, they're more than likely not going to say, politicians, they're not going to say that their role model is Barack Obama, typically. And I think, again, that's why we hold, because these athletes are our role models in a lot of cases, we hold them to a higher standard because we don't know what the politicians are doing, and to me, I'd rather, like, as an athlete, who's in their 20s. I mean, they make, players make mistakes, and they should be, that, that point in time, like your early 20s, that's the time to be making those mistakes, right? But it seems like when an athlete makes a mistake, they're totally scrutinized to the nth degree. When a politician makes a mistake, it's wishy-washy, because you don't, if a politician makes a mistake or says something wrong, if you have no prior knowledge of this politician, you just say, oh, he seems to be a good person, and you kind of throw that under the rug. And so a lot of it, again, like back to what Colin was saying, is that we just typically, in general, people don't pay attention to politics, and we tend to have higher viewing rates of sporting events, whether it be the Super Bowl or even an All-Star game in any of the major sports.
All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to our next one because we beat that one. So on to another one. Why do you guys think Josh McDaniels risked it all for the Patriots? For those of you that don't know, Josh McDaniels was about to become the new head coach of the Patriots. I mean, not the Patriots, the Colts, my bad. And instead, he decided to screw the Colts after they hired, the people he wanted as the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and all that. He decided that he said, nah, I'm good. I'm going to stay here with the Patriots and everything else. So, and to help other people, before you answer this question, just so y'all can understand what exactly he got from the Patriots, as more reporting has been done on it. It turns out that Bill Belichick now is willing to take a bigger role in mentoring Josh McDaniels to be his replacement. So like I said, it seems like, as we talked about a couple weeks ago, it seems like the Patriots dynasty is on the outs. They're mentoring Josh McDaniels to eventually unseat, Bill Belichick. So that's one, and that's all the reporting so far, is that, outside of more money, he also got a promise from Bill Belichick that, he's going to really, really emphasize and mentor him to become his eventual replacement. So we'll start there. Since Andre didn't get to go, on the last question. We'll start with Andre, and then we'll work back. Then we'll work back to Matt, and then everybody else. So go ahead, Dre.
Yeah, I don't. It's a really good question. I guess when Robert Kraft came to him and said, "Listen, this team is yours. Do you want it?" And he probably was like, "Yeah, I want it." So to stay here, don't leave us. You know this organization. We gonna ride with you. We're not gonna fire you. Like they probably gave him some kind of deal where as though he felt like that's the only way I can see him staying with them. Because like, why would you do that? Like, why would you set up another team and then say no? Like, you just be an Indian giver. But as a friend of mine say, Indians ain't never give nothing. They stole their land. I just I don't even want to talk too more about the Patriots. Somebody else go.
Matt, it's on you.
Finally got out of Twitter. Do you remember the time when Bill Belichick was the coach of the New York Jets for not even an hour before he said, "Nah, I changed my mind. I'm going to New England." Yeah, this is similar. Yeah, this is similar to this. Look, as I was watching First Take, Undisputed, and all the other stuff, just get an idea what's going on. I feel first of all, they were about to announce Indianapolis Josh McDaniels on Wednesday. And a lot of places would have introduced him on Monday, if Tuesday the latest. But Wednesday was a bit weird. So, like you said, you have your coaching people in place, and all of a sudden you renege. You literally renege on literally being the coach of the Colts. So now question remains, it's like, okay. So that's I got goals, so somebody can take it.
All right. That had to go. Go ahead, Courtney.
So my first thought was, as the lawyer in me, is I hope he got all that in writing. I hope that Belichick really is grooming him to eventually take over the Patriots, because if this was just like a ploy to get him to stay in New England for a couple more years, then you just look bad now. And I feel like it would be a lot harder for him to move on to another team now that you basically just like shot the Colts in the foot pretty much. Like everything was pretty much done, and then in the dark of the night, you just pulled the okie doke and were like, nope. So I really sincerely hope that what Belichick has promised him is true, and that he was smart enough to get it in writing, because otherwise that was just a stupid move. And I don't know how you come back from that and move on to be a head coach again down the line, I'm sure what he wants to do down the line. I'm positive. So that was kind of like my 2 cents. I do also hope, I saw a couple like articles out there saying that like he made this decision for his kids so they could like stay in the same school and have continuity, which like I hope was a real considering factor, and not just some kind of like media ploy to kind of like couch his decision last minute, because it sounded like he was all ready to move his kids to Indiana. And so I'm not sure what changed about the kids in 2 days. But if that is true, then like I totally understand that, aside from all the money and stuff. But Bruh, I still just hope you got that in writing because otherwise you just kind of shot yourself in the foot, I think.
Trey?
Well, Colin, I was like you when I first saw it. When I saw the report, I was like, "Wow, okay." Well, this says something about you know what Josh McDaniels' role will be down the line. And I think we've been seeing signs that this dynasty is coming to an end. I mean, with the latest sign, being that the Eagles beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But I think we've been seeing signs, going back to the beginning of this season, um, where the defense was horrible in the beginning of the season. And then the Patriots traded Jacoby Brissett to the Colts. Of all people, of all teams, they traded him to the Colts. And if you know Bill Belichick, Bill Belichick is all about revenge. You know, you look at how he's treated the Browns over the past, I don't even know how long, but the fact that he had the whole thing with Deflategate, and the Patriots trade Jacoby Brissett to the Colts of all teams, and Jacoby Brissett turns out to be a really solid quarterback. And then they trade, of all people, the player that you were sure was going to be the replacement for Tom Brady. They trade Jimmy Garoppolo, and then a day after the Super Bowl, or excuse me, not 2 days, but 3 days after the Super Bowl, Jimmy Garoppolo gets literally he gets the largest NFL contract in NFL history. So when I look at Josh McDaniels trying to take a job from the Colts as head coach, and then pulling out of that job, it really says to me that Bill Belichick, and I think I don't know about Tom, but I know Bill is ready to, hang up and retire. I don't think it'll be before this coming season, the 2018-2019 season, but I think it might, he might have one more season in him and he's done, because it's clear that there's been a lot of relationship issues between Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft and Tom, and the fact that Josh McDaniels, it's not like Josh McDaniels, they had kind of offered him a job and he rejects the job. They were going to announce him the coach, and he's like, no, I'm good. He takes back what, the agreement, and says, no, I'm going to stay with the Patriots. And to me, it's simply because Bill Belichick is almost done and Josh McDaniels is the next guy up. Because if it weren't Matt Patricia, then it's got to be Josh McDaniels. I think that also played into it, now that Matt Patricia recently signed with the Lions to be their head coach. So I think, this Patriots dynasty is coming to an end, and more than likely, Josh McDaniels is going to be the new face or not the new face, but the new head coach of this aging and dying dynasty.
All right, Amina, go ahead.
First I have to say that it's the biggest unprofessional blindsiding that I've seen in recent NFL history. Like, it's so unprofessional. Like, you literally went for the interview, signed paperwork, got the team all hyped up. Then you realize what you will be leaving behind, I guess, or whatever, and you turn your back on the team that you just did all this work, that you just did all this preliminary work for, and you just leave them dry, hanging and questionable. Like, and then on top of it, I believe it's either his agent. Yeah, I think it's his agent. Resigned from his job with him. Like, his agent quit on him. Like, you made your agent look bad. You made everybody that has any part in this mess you caused look bad. I gotta agree with what Trey was saying about how it's, it's the signs is all there. I mean, Matt Patricia is now the head coach of the Detroit Lions. Bill Belichick, I believe, this coming season is the last year of his contract. Tom Brady's contract is ending soon as well, and it's all, it's it's taking its course one person at a time, and it's imminent. I mean, not everything ends eventually in life. Nothing lasts forever, and this is the end of the New England Patriots as we know them. It's all there. I mean, there's nothing else to say about it. People move with their family all across the country all the time. So if it was a family issue, I don't understand. Like, people take new jobs with new teams far away and on another side of the country in another time zone all the time. I don't see the issue. I mean, you're just a plane ride away from Boston, from Indiana. Like, I don't get it. He shouldn't have left that team high and dry. Like, it happened. He got he got announced on the NFL's Facebook page as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, and then immediately after they're like, "Oops, sorry, you decided to stay in Boston." Wow, that's going on your public record of being highly unprofessional and having no class. Just like the quarterback over there has been cheating with his 5 rings. So that's what I gotta say about the Josh McDaniels and his messy self.
All right. Well, I really have nothing more to add other than to say again that this was highly unprofessional, highly unusual for somebody to renege on a deal that was basically worked out basically a couple of weeks ago before the Super Bowl. And I like Courtney said, she said it the best. Like, I hope he got all that in writing. I hope they don't snake him because the Patriots are known to snake people. Just ask Jimmy Garoppolo. They snaked him, and they probably will snake Bill. They probably will snake Josh McDaniels too because, what I will tell him is this: I know this podcast is probably a little too medium for them to listen to. For them to listen to is not big yet, but if somebody in Josh McDaniels could get this man a message from somebody in their mid-20s from Philadelphia, boy, I hope that it all works out for you, because if it doesn't, and come next year, if Bill Belichick gets to a Super Bowl again, and he comes to you after it, whether win, lose, or draw, and says, "I'm feeling it, and I'm gonna keep coming back," he might Phil Jackson you, man. He might never retire. So I really do hope you got all that in writing, because if you didn't, you just screwed yourself from ever getting another NFL coaching position in the NFL ever again. So I really do hope that you have a really good lawyer, and that you got all that in writing, because if you didn't, you're definitely not getting hired in the NFL again. You might have to go to college to rebound yourself before you ever get a job in the NFL again. based on what you did to Indianapolis. I know that the Deflategate stuff is as Trey pointed out, the feelings from that still very raw on the New England side, because for those of you that don't know, the team that snitched on the Patriots was the Colts, and that's where a lot of this whole stateness and rivalry comes from. But yeah, so there's nothing else to say on that. So moving right along, guys. All right, y'all. Do we believe the Eagles will be back in the Super Bowl next year? And before all the native Philadelphians and the people from the area answer, we're gonna start with the non-Philadelphia, because we wanna start with some unbiased opinions. Go ahead, Courtney.
Thank you. Although I feel like I'm gonna say exactly what the rest of you guys are gonna say, which is yes, I think they have a very good shot of being in the Super Bowl again, especially with Carson Wentz coming back and everyone getting healthy over the off season. Like chances are looking pretty good from my end. So it's my 2 cents.
All right, so and before we start, I'm not saying that y'all won't turn the fan off. I'm just saying that we're experiencing a championship, and it's better we start with the non Philadelphian first. So all right, since we started there, let's work backwards. Go ahead, Amina. We're gonna get that Raiders versus Eagles Super Bowl that you've always wanted. Go ahead.
Oh, you want a rematch from 1981? Maybe it'll happen. Who knows?
Well, hey, we're 1-0 in rematches so far. So go ahead.
Nah, not that rematch. That won't be a win for y'all. But anyway, I would say maybe at this time, because Carson Wentz is still listed as inactive for actual games. He's been cleared to do like partial practices where gets his muscles loosened up, but he's still seeing his primary care physician. He's still seeing his physical therapist and all that on a regular basis. So they have to be the ones that have to sign paperwork and all that to clear him to even come back to the NFL to be suited and booted. But until then, Nick Foles is going to be the one to be the starter for the starter quarterback for the team coming for training camp and preseason. So we'll see how that goes. Eagles, they have a great shot. They're listed as one of the either 6 or 7 teams that might go to the Super Bowl in Atlanta next year. And yes, the Super Bowl is going to the ATL next year. I would say maybe 80%. I feel as though they have a good chance this time. But depending on Carson Wentz and how he is, because he had an injury that happens to a lot of players, and you don't want him to get ruined again. So take one game at a time and let him come back when it's not convenient for the team, but convenient for his health. But overall, I think they have a great shot at going back. There's the NFC East. I don't think has had a back-to-back Super Bowl in almost 20 years. I think since the early 2000s. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out in the modern times. But we'll see.
The last Super Bowl was actually Super Bowl 26 to 27 Dallas in the NFC.
All right.
Yeah, that was in the 90s.
There you go. Our historian. Y'all know that hurt him because he's in Cowboys headquarters in Louisiana. So go ahead, Trey.
I believe that the Eagles have a very high chance of making it back to the Super Bowl, and this is not even had nothing to do with the fact that I'm an Eagles fan. I think they have a great nucleus and a number of players that are under contract till like 2021 or something like that. Now, there are some players that, on 1-year deals, like LeGarrette Blount, Chris Long, and a few other players whose contracts are up this season. That and Doug Peterson actually said it. He said you can't keep everyone. And so I think there's going to be some players that we don't bring back, but as a result of not bringing some players back, some cap space is opened up. So I think in free agency and in the draft, we should be able to do some based on what we did in the draft this past year, which I think our draft was pretty solid. I think we can add new pieces where we'll lose key pieces, and add depth in places where we need depth, and through the draft and through free agency. And I think as a result, we have a great chance of making it back to the Super Bowl. And think about this. Based on what we know about Carson Wentz's injury, it was, a torn ACL and LCL, and I also heard that a partially broken leg was also part of the injury. So when originally it looks like he would be back week 1, it's looking more like he's going to be back like week 4, week 5, to do his, let's say Carson. And so Nick Foles had to play 4 games. Totally confident in Carson Wentz, to finish and go, 12-4, 11 to be. Because I trust I trust Peterson as a coach. I trust Carson as the starting quarterback. I trust Nick Foles as the backup, but as a starter, to just do his job, and be a solid backup quarterback. And I trust our defense. Again this year, our defense made play, and the culmination of that was in the Super Bowl. Graham gets the sack fumble, but I think we can get back to the Super Bowl not only next year, but a great chance to get into a dynasty and win championships, because, like I said, we have such a great nucleus, and you've got some young talent that's coming up, i.e. on defense and Sidney Jones, and then on offense you got just offensive line is pretty much set. You got a few older players be set for so when the Eagles I give them, I said more like a 90% chance on the fact that Doug Peterson as a coach and his play calling and his aggressiveness. And I said this on whenever it was, Monday night or whatever, maybe that we can't call Doug Peterson Andy because he's not coaching style in terms of trick plays and creating a lot of misdirection. You see a lot of that over with the Chiefs, and Andy Reid does a lot of that with the Chiefs. There's aggressiveness, management, and the ability to, a group of guys on Sunday to be and totally focused to Peterson, I think has surpassed Andy Reid in that aspect. And Doug Peterson, won a championship in the second year as a head coach. And it's Andy 5 years to get to the Super Bowl, not to take it away. anything away from Andy Ainge coach and Eagles history, but again, I trust this team to be consistently great.
Go ahead, Andre.
No, hold on. What's the question, Colin?
Can the Eagles repeat?
Do that one more time.
Shut up, man.
Can the Eagles repeat, bro?
Greg,
Can the Eagles repeat? You said?
yes, that's the question.
Yeah, most definitely we can repeat. We got the same coach, same quarterback. Those are the strongest pieces to your foundation. Is your quarterback and your coach and your defense, of course. Like how well does your defense perform? And the offensive line is strong as well. We're getting Jason Peters back, so that's gonna be huge. And Vasi is coached up now, so I'm excited to see where that goes. Chris Long and Garrett Bunt, they were key pieces to our team. We can't downplay them. But I feel like we could get somebody to come play for us. We're a Super Bowl team now, cuz like if you being a Super Bowl team, winning the Super Bowl, and you see the kind of fan base we got, like the whole city's behind you. I don't know what more you need to encourage you to play for that. I mean, obviously money, but I think we're gonna be good. Yeah, I can't wait till next season. I'm be counting down the days because we know the Sixers ain't gonna do nothing, and the Flyers aren't gonna do anything, and the Phillies are rebuilding. So, excuse me. The next championship is definitely coming from the Eagles.
You said that so proudly. It's unbelievable. Go ahead, Matt.
Look, this team is intact for another 2-3 years, like everybody know Mama said on this podcast and everywhere else. The contract situations are fine. Carson Wentz is on his rookie deal. So literally, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and the way and Howie Roseman, you are a smart man. But by the way, let me get off topic a little bit. Jason Kelce, you are the man. The way.
Yes, he is. Come on now.
The way he explained what happened to that man, how he went MIA.
You mean the mayor of Philadelphia? I think you mean the mayor of Philadelphia.
I mean, look, you talk about Chase Utley. I dropped the F-bomb in the Phillies parade. Here comes this brother, hold my beer, in all full-blown Mummers regalia, which, oh, by the way, I had to correct a local ABC affiliate here in Shreveport. Like, it's not an Aladdin outfit. It's a Mummers outfit. I put that on Facebook, number one. Number two, literally the way he explained what happened to Howie Roseman during the Kelly era was perfect, beautiful, guys. Because let me tell you why. Howie Roseman, I mean, Joe Douglas, I know had his hand on it too, literally built this team like to where as though this can sustain itself for at least 3 years. The window is wide open. We're not going to talk about the Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, let alone Union. We're not going to talk about them, those franchises, even though they have an equal amount of shot based on the situation. But this team,
trust the process.
This Eagles football team, literally, is built to win at least 3 years at the core that is in right now on the contracts. That we could talk about injuries, we could talk about situations, things do change. And let's not forget, the other teams in the NFC are getting everybody else back, including Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay. New Orleans is a team that you should worry about coming in the next season. I mean, the NFC right now looks stacked. Okay, very, very stacked, and we cannot take for granted that what the opposition is, but we'll see as the offseason progresses and the draft. But as of right now, we're all coming off our highs. We're all coming off, our stupors and everything else. We're all feeling good about ourselves. The fact that we finally won one after 57 years. First time in the Super Bowl era. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. This team is built to win now. This team is built to win for another 2-3 years. This team is built to go all in again. So all we have to do basically is make the right moves. We got it. Look, everything is in place. Just all we have to do is get ourselves ready for the next season.
Listen. All right, listen. Usually I turn, when it comes to Eagles questions, I put on my sports journalist / analyst cap and not my fandom. Today I'm combining the two. Let me tell you something right now. See, Matt and Andre are way too conservative for me. Listen, the way this team is built, everybody's under contract until, as we said, 2021, 2022. The only piece we need to re-sign for real is Nigel Bradham. He's 26. We need that man. And we got Jordan Hicks. As long as Carson Wentz is under contract, he's in the next to last year of his rookie deal, so he'll be re-signed sometime soon. But listen, as long as Carson Wentz is under contract, as long as Doug Peterson is under contract, and as long as nobody poaches Howie Roseman and Joe Douglas, we'll be all right. You know why? Because our as Matt just said, the contract situation is good, but him and Dre's estimation is way too conservative. The way this thing is built and the way Howie Roseman now has the power and nobody's going to take it away from him, this thing is, to me, I'm going to say it, the new up and coming dynasty. I know take it one season at a time. Next season, we're going to be
preach.
Next, all we need is for real. We have our running back of the future right now, unless we want to draft another one. But right now we have our running back of the future for the next 2 years, I believe, in Jay Ajayi. And we have Corey Clement as his backup. Darren Sproles is coming back, hopefully. And I mean, if they want LeGarrette Blount, they can have him. Maybe they want to draft somebody. I don't know what the Eagles are thinking. I think LeGarrette Blount is a key piece. I want him back personally, but I don't know if there's room for him with Corey Clement and Jay Ajayi basically taking away his carries and returning Darren Sproles. I don't know if there's room for him. I want him back because he's a big bruising runner. And
don't forget Kenyon Barner.
Well, Kenyon Barner's a free agent, so that's true. We do have Kenyon Barner. We have Wendell Smallwood. We have Donnell Pumphrey. I don't know if we need LeGarrette Blount. I want him back. Let me say that, but I don't know if we need him. The two most important people the three most important people we need to re-sign. Well, two really: Nigel Bradham and Trey Burton. I mean, Brent Selleck, if he can restructure or if he wants to retire, we're gonna have to draft a tight end. We're definitely going to have to draft another left tackle. I know Big V is great, but he's going to need a backup too, just in case something happened to him. So we're going to need at least 3 left tackles. We're going to need a left tackle. It's going to be good. We just got to draft a few things. We definitely going to need another cornerback. We're going to need a lot. We're going to need a couple of things. But the Eagles are definitely going to repeat as long as they re-sign Nigel Bradham, Jordan Hicks comes back healthy, Carson Wentz comes back healthy. We're good. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be there come next year. We're definitely. I put it at 89%. Looking at it objectively, I put it at 88 to 89%. I know the NFC is stacked, but the NFC East specifically runs through Philadelphia. Ain't nobody gonna be stronger. I said it on the previous podcast. I was right about the Eagles' free agent acquisitions. This year, I'm calling it now. They're going after. They're gonna strengthen the wide receiver position. They're going after. I don't know this for sure, but this is a feeling that I have. They're going to go after Dez Bryant, make him an Eagle, and Malcolm Butler. That's the two free agents. That's the two people.
No, I gotta stop you there.
No, Matt.
If you learn from history,
I'm telling you now, Matt. Don't doubt me. You doubted me on Torrey Smith, LeGarrette Blount, and Alshon Jeffrey. And what happened?
I'm sorry. I got to stand this one.
Don't doubt it, Matt.
You have to understand. Remember there has been times where we have taken it for Cowboys, and it has not worked well. So I could go down the list of Antonio and everything else. It has not worked in the past. If I were you, do not. I repeat, do not touch a Cowboy.
Okay. All right. So the Eagles are gonna repeat. We'll see what happens during free agency and the draft. But yeah, the Eagles are gonna. I feel the Eagles have the tools that it takes to get back to the Super Bowl. All right. So moving right along. Y'all know the NBA trade deadline just happened. Y'all saw the Cavs basically trade away the whole team, not name LeBron James and J.R. Smith. So yeah, we're gonna start with that. So guys, the question is, what do you think of the Cavs fire sale? We'll start with our favorite person who loves the Cavaliers topics. Go ahead, Amina.
I don't love them. I just like talking shit about them. Cavs. Question is, what do you think of the Cavs fire sale? They finally woke up and did what they should have done a long time ago and get younger people on their roster. They went from being, having aging or nothing but an aging roster to getting a bunch of youngins on their team. The team has something to work with now. They're not having to be concerned about people that are hitting 30, 35, 40 on the team just anymore, really. It's remarkable what a trade deadline can do for a team that's on his last leg. So we'll see. I mean, they're third in the East with the 32 and 22 record right now, I believe. And tomorrow's their first game, I think, since the major overhaul. They'll be playing in Boston against the Celtics. So we'll see how this new roster plays against them. But hey, I'm shocked that they went after some young people because usually this team likes to go after the old folks when it comes to trades. But hey, I guess it was, do or die for them. But they got a roster they can work with and grow with. So hopefully this team stays together and does what their goals are, So we'll see. They're third in the East, so they got work to do.
All right. Moving right along. Trey stepped out for a little bit. So go ahead. Even though I know basketball ain't really sport. Go ahead, Court, if you got anything on this one.
I have my little 2 cents. I actually did my research on this. So when I saw some headline on Facebook about it, and I was like, wait, what the hell? Like, wait, what? They traded all those people in one day? Like, what's going on? And I was like super confused. But as I kind of dug into it a little bit more, I think a lot of what Amina said is like really, really on point. That I feel like they kind of re-energized their team in a sense. That's kind of what it seems to me, and it was a smart move. For me, the timing was a little surprising, but that's just me, my like lack of basketball knowledge, and maybe this is a thing, maybe not. But the timing seems weird because now you have to like.
It was trade deadline. They had to do it.
I mean, I know it was trade deadline, but I'm saying in terms of like trading half your team like on one day at the deadline, like that seemed weird to me. But like that's neither here nor there. But I think the end goal.
I totally agree. I was shocked. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was like rapid fire. I feel like it seemed like rapid fire within a couple hours. Anyway, but I think the end goal will be fruitful for them. So that's my 2 cents.
Go ahead, Andre.
I definitely agree with Courtney. I do think it re-energized the team. I mean, I don't know, just I like that combination. Like, I wanted to see them win the championship, but I guess Dwayne's ways knees are too bad, and LeBron James wants it more. And I say Thomas situation, I was just like, gotta play again. You take him away right away, but obviously, like from reports, they said he wasn't gelling well with the team. So, with that being said, I'm like, yeah, like if you're not working, especially if you're not working well with LeBron, it's not going to work. So you gotta bring something to the team. They said he wasn't good on defense, but I'm like, what the hell did you expect him to do? Guy's like 5 foot. Who the hell was he going to guard? Now he probably get a couple steals and like getting passing lanes and stuff like that, and like a couple strips, but like shutting somebody down, oh no. All they gotta do is push him over. They getting right to Iman Shumpert. Yeah, this is about time he go. And I like Iman Shumpert too. I really do. He's just too streaky. Like 1 minute he hot, next minute he not. It's like, yo, what game you gonna show up? And you don't know. So like you can't stay on the championship winning team playing like that. Like when your number's called, you got to show up. But I mean, I'm dying to see what happens. I really hope that it goes well for them because if it's not the Sixers, I'm definitely rooting for the Cavs. I don't want to see any other team come out of the East and win it. Like I'm not really rooting for them. Like they do, okay, fine. But and that's another thing. The West is so strong. I think they would crush any other team. To be honest with you, Cleveland has a hard time with them. Like these other teams, I feel like they don't know their identity. I think the Celtics are probably close to ones knowing their identity, but they're still. So what you see in the regular season is all a mirage. Like when you get up close on that cactus, it's not even a cactus. It was dirt. You just seeing illusions. It's all smoke and mirrors. So I'm really excited to see what happens.
Matt.
2 words. Dumpster fire. That's it. Dumpster fire. Look, let's go further back. The acquisition of D Wade. I had a bad feeling about it from the jump. The way they handled that offseason, it was a mess. It was a mess, and it had to make
care about your feelings.
I don't know my feelings. No way, no how. Look, it's the truth. You saw there was a dumpster fire in the making. You saw it. You knew it. It was coming, and here it is, a dumpster fire. Look, the thing is, you traded Kyrie Irving for Isaiah Thomas. And I don't know. I forgot the whole makeup of that trade, but that's basically what happened.
Man, they had to get something. So they went and got their best player.
Something.
That's all they had.
But
because they
if that was
weren't
all,
going to give up. Who's the center on the Celtics? They weren't
Kevin
going to give
Love.
him up.
Oh,
No,
what's his name? Yeah,
Celtics.
I know what you're
Can't
talking
think of his
about.
name.
And I know
Yeah,
what
they
you're
weren't
talking
gonna
about, though. No, but that was like in Cleveland's case, that was Kyrie's team. The way how he sliced it. I mean, yeah, LeBron came back, but that's Kyrie's team, number one. But you had to do what you had to do. So you bring in Isaiah Thomas, and to me, that it was not. This was the same Cavalier. It's not going to be the same Cavalier team. It just wasn't. It looked like something had to be done, and thus when you had this big old dumpster fire. Hey, you get a player, everyone gets a player because it was a mess and something had to be done. So out goes D-Wade because he's old. Out goes Isaiah because don't fit. I haven't seen a whole lot of games, but it was just a mess. It had to be done.
D-Rose too.
What happened?
D-Rose left the team too.
First of all, I don't know why he signed D-Rose in the first round place or busting these at all. But either way, I wouldn't sign him. The thing is simply this: yes, you trying to
forget D-Rose. He got identity issues. I don't know what's wrong with him. Chicago's still mad at him. They're like, "What the hell, D-Rose?"
The thing is a big giant dumpster fire. You sign all these stars. You're trying to literally, let's call it for what it is, buy a championship to strip it away from Golden State. Well, Golden State's kind of set for another, 2 seasons. So no.
Hell no, they won't be stripping nothing from my team.
Get back in your hole. The point is simply this: they were trying to buy another championship, and now you see it pretty much fell apart. So they had to do what they had to do. And another thing is how they're gonna play from this point on to the end of the season. I think they're third in the conference right now. I think I gotta check.
They're third.
You're behind Boston. And you're behind Toronto. Explain
the
that to me.
Raptors are number 1, Celtics are 2, and Cavs are 3.
Explain that to me. And you should. In fact, they're holding on to third, but it could have been worse. It could have been 6. But the way, from what I've seen, the way they played the game recently has been abysmal. Particularly that 40-point drubbing against OKC. It was abysmal. So, yes, they had to do what they had to do, and I hope they learned your lesson. You cannot buy a championship in the NBA. It can be done, but you got to do it right. And the way they did it, you brought in an old D-Wade, you brought in I don't know what the hell, who he is, Derrick Rose, and it's a mess. And you need somebody to facilitate that mess, and they just don't have it. So therefore, they did what they had to do. It's still a dumpster fire in Cleveland. This in Cleveland in general. The Browns suck. The Indians finally got rid of their logo, thank God. And Cleveland can't find their identity. So it's a crisis in Cleveland.
All right, guys, back to your corners. All right. I'm gonna answer these 2 questions real quick, and then I'm gonna let Trey answer what he thought about the fire, and then we're gonna move on. All right. So I think I was like Courtney. I was kind of surprised. I didn't expect a baseball level fire sale, or to be more exact, a Miami Marlins level fire sale from the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think this was Cleveland admitting that they made a mistake. But what they really did is they traded old and decrepit for young and injured. Because if you really break down the players they got, they traded for 3 very, very injured, very, very damaged good players. I like Rodney Hood, but he can't stay healthy worth a darn either. It's basically like getting a younger, more defensive, shooter-based Derrick Rose. That's basically what they got in Rodney Hood. He can shoot the three. He can cut. He went to Duke. That's about it. That's all I can really say about him. They got George Hill, whose three-point shot is improved, but he can't stay healthy worth a darn either. They got a bunch of basically what they got was a bunch of younger, more injured versions of what they had before. That's what they got. George Hill can play off the ball. That's great. LeBron James is going to handle the ball more at the age of 34. That's exactly what he wants to do. It's not going to work. They're not a better team. They're a more younger team, but they're also a more injured team. It's not going to work. It's showing itself. It's not going to work. I'm happy Dan Gilbert admitted he made a mistake. I know that was hard for him to do, but I don't think the Cavaliers are any more closer to LeBron James staying in Cleveland than they were before they made these trades. I mean, this is not going to help them in the longer sense. It just means LeBron's going to have to do a lot.
Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall. I think LeBron out.
I think it just means that LeBron's going to have to do a lot more work to keep this
He's
team
a
up.
free agent after the season is over.
Yeah, I just think he's going to have to do a lot more work to help them make it to the finals if they even make it there. They might get bounced in the second round. Who knows? Because the East is a lot tougher this year. So
I think LeBron's still mad about how they fired the GM and like they didn't really consult him about that. So I think he don't get along with the management at all. Like the owner, I think he like, yo, I'm out, man. Like you not respecting me. I came back. What's your championship? Like, what's up with y'all, man?
well, what did he
First one in history. Like, can I get a little respect around this joint? I am the king, nigga.
No,
Don't you forget who the king is.
You're not gonna give respect when you come back to a coach to an owner who basically called you a slave. You're not gonna get respect.
Clearly.
But
don't trip on the free agent part because LeBron's a smart businessman. He's always going to sign a short-term deal because he wants the max money he can get. He don't want to sign a long-term contract because every year the money goes up. So if I sign a long-term deal, I'm not going to get the same amount of money I would get if I signed a short-term deal.
How many more seasons do you legitimately think this man has left? He's 34.
I would say 5 more.
He's not gonna have
5 more seasons.
He's not gonna have 5 more.
How many seasons did Kobe bring? Kobe had?
Kobe had 20, and he started contemplating retirement at the current age LeBron was, and Kobe retired at 37.
He's only got like at least one to 2 good seasons left before
I'd say he got 5 more. I think he said, well, maybe not 5. 5 is a lot. Maybe I'll drop down to 3. He got 3 more seasons. And I'm saying he's gonna coast on them seasons. He's going to rely more. He said it when Kyrie got traded. He said, "Listen, I was about to get the keys to Kyrie. Kyrie just up and left."
Listen, he's 34.
I still don't understand that situation. Why Kyrie just left? Can anybody explain that to me? Why Kyrie just left?
You saw the writing on the wall. That's what happened.
Kyrie got out of the dumpster fire, as Matt called it, while the going was good for him. He wanted to be his own man. He's having a successful career in Boston that he never had in Cleveland. He's his own man now. He doesn't have to answer to LeBron James.
But wait a minute, he was the man before LeBron got there, and the team was
I understand that, but he was not the face of the team.
He was in the face of the team. The name starting 5 to me. For you can't do it.
But remember this.
It was a bunch of scrubs and Kyrie.
Listen,
think about this. You were planning when Kyrie was drafted. You weren't thinking about getting LeBron back at the time, so you had to rebuild from scratch. And Kyrie Irving was your man. Mind you, remember Cleveland had the #1 pick at the time when Kyrie was drafted, so you would naturally build your franchise around Kyrie Irving. Now, fast forward. Now, when LeBron was available and had the money to do it. I think it was Kyrie's blessing too. I'm not sure. That's when they brought LeBron back home.
listen. Let's just get this clear. Kyrie left because he didn't want to be stuck holding the bag when he was left with a bunch of scrubs. That's going to be Kevin Love.
He
You
left
know,
for the sake of his career legacy, his reputation and all that. He,
listen. He wanted to be the man. Now he's the man in Boston with people who are going to build around. Because let's be real, Dan Gilbert is not a smart man. He doesn't run his organization well, and he didn't want to be stuck with Dan Gilbert. That's essentially what happened. And to answer the question, so we can move on to the Sixers. To answer the question, you know, it's a dumpster fire. They're not a better team. They just got younger and more injured. There you go. And I'm gonna start with Trey for this one. Where are we at? Oh yeah, there we are. So should the 70 actually we'll start with Courtney because we're gonna start with the non-Philadelphia first. Should the 76ers just sit Markel Fultz down and find a point guard for the rest of the season? Courtney, I don't know if you did. If you, I hope you did. But if you have anything, go ahead.
Uh, I don't know if I have much, to be honest. I mean, from like the little bit I do seem to know about the situation, I think it wouldn't be a horrible idea to just to find someone more reliable and let him kind of heal properly. But, I feel like basketball season also is we're just kind of at the start of it. So like maybe in a couple months he'll be up to playing, but I don't know. So that's kind of my 2 cents, but I'd be curious to hear what the rest of y'all have to say.
All right, Trey. I know you didn't get an answer for the last one, so you can start. So go ahead. Well, not start, but be second. Go ahead.
As far as the Cavs go, I kind of disagree with what you were saying, Kylan. I don't think that they're worse. I'm kind of in the same situation, uh, and I think when it comes play time, play as far as the Cavs go, they are, they got George Hill who had wars, ironically against LeBron James, back when. And then you got Rodney Hood and Jordan Clarkson. Both have no playoff experience whatsoever. I think they got younger, and I think that's good. They got younger and they got longer, but that the front office of the Cavs prior, it's not there. But it's I think whatever their GM's name, Altman or whatever. I think he was trying to get things done, and he did. I think bringing in D Rose and D Wade, and Isaiah Thomas. I think Isaiah Thomas. I don't think was a mistake much, but I think after the fact they realized, that it wasn't working the way they had planned, and so they move things. So I mean, it's an unusual trade. You don't usually kind of just ship 6 pick. But it happens. Baseball type trade. I think, on sake, it's better that he has younger players on his team that can develop. Because I mean, we all know LeBron James has 2-3 years left. But the question is, the line has passed. As far as the offseason is concerned, and keeping LeBron James. But that's my piece about the Cavs. As far as Markel Fultz, the fact that he might sit the whole season.
Really bad.
I mean, the fact that he might sit the rest of the season is just literally at the first pick in the draft or top 3 pick every year for the past 5 years, I think. And every player they have drafted has sat out their first season. for us. I believe he set out his first season or got injured. Joel Embiid played his first 2 years in the league. Markelle Fultz probably is not going to play, and Ben Simmons didn't play last year. I don't. Nerlens Noel is the only top 5 pick that the Sixers have drafted in the last 5 years. That
he was hurt too.
It was Jalil Okafor. Jalil Okafor was the only one to play his first 2 seasons without getting
right.
injured.
Jalil Okafor played his first year, but he set out his second year. No, he tore his MCL. The point is disheartening to see this because it's like, okay, you would think, man. For example, Ben Simmons.
What the hell happened to Jalil Okafor? It seems like he the blast of the past. Like, I don't hear nothing about him anymore.
I don't know. The point is that the management.
He's on the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, he's on the Nets now. But the point is that management, it's like they don't know players who are injury prone. Like if I'm a GM or I'm a office of an organization, regardless of sport, I'm just in. Now, is that the determinant them or not, or I sign them? It is a lot. And I mean, I'm glad that they've, because Joel Embiid is a transcendent talent, and if he can stay healthy, a Hall of Famer. Same thing with Ben Simmons. If Ben Simmons is healthy, he's probably going to go down as a not a Hall of Famer, at least a perennial All-Star. Same thing with Joel Embiid. But this whole market, and we've said, just doesn't make any. Time and time again, the Sixers have come out and said, "We write you in a month." A month later, he's healthy. Give us another 2 weeks. And now, apparently, he's not going to. It's just like, I can understand, mental. I can understand like having like a mentor because, maybe he's not in terms of his what's the way I want to say it? In terms of his ability to, if he can make a shot, maybe he's not there, and the injury and I think poor coaching, in my opinion, he's lost all jump shot. I can understand that because, I mean, athlete, you understand what that means to lose confidence in a jump and your ability to play. I remember back in high school, and I think this was it would have been my junior year, I think. I was coming off an injury. I hurt my ankle. Games of the season. I came back and I played, and my games playing. My coach was like, actually, at the time he wasn't even my coach. He was the girls' team. Why when I look at you, when I look at you on the court, you basically, he said I was playing like a little girl, and I said what? But it triggered something in me that made me for the rest, for the rest of my junior year and into my senior year, court, I was gonna play. Try to get every rebound. I was going to try to get every block, score every basket. So it motivated me and it gave me confidence. Happening with Markelle Fultz concerns me, I can't even think of the coach's name. As much as I wanted to give Brett benefit of the doubt as the head coach, he management has done a good job with updating him on things, and where they've Brown, he's like, I don't know what's going on. The players don't know what's going on. But to me, good would be able to motivate Mark and get him out of this kind of
Brett
mental
Brown needs to be
slump.
fired. What do you think? Do he need to be fired or not?
If maybe not, like, because I think he's a great defensive mind. Like, he knows and teach him how to play defense. I think. So, like, an assistant head coach and him be the guy that kind of just prevents either he gets fired or he gets demoted as an assistant head coach else. And if you hire somebody else, and I probably agree, I would love to have Mark. Think about the Golden State Warriors and the players of Kevin Durant. Mark Jackson built that team, drafted up most into, I think it was the East Finals 2 years, and actually had, I think, one of the most winning stretches in Golden State Warriors history years, and then he gets fired for it. So I think Mark Jackson would be a good option because, I mean, he surely knows how to coach up and build young talent, even when they are injury-free.
All right, go ahead, Amina.
Yeah, with Markel Fultz, I just have to say that he's been injury prone for a long while now, and it doesn't seem to be, getting any better for his career. So I say just sit him and get somebody else more reliable that can actually get the job done for the Sixers, and that's about it.
All right, go ahead, Andre.
I mean, I listen. I hear you, Amina, but we can't just do that, man. Like, this dude was the number one draft pick. This dude was the number one draft pick. You just can't give away number one draft picks like it's nothing. Like, those don't come easy. Like, you gotta work. Like, I hate to say this, you gotta take a whole season to get a number one draft pick nowadays. It's absurd. Like, man, this team is so frustrating. The organization is so frustrating. The coach is so frustrating. Watching the games, it's like you get into it, and they lose, man. Like, they could be up 20, they could be up 30, and they find a way to lose. It's one of the worst Philadelphia teams I've ever seen. I don't care how many number one
They
draft
lose
picks on
because
the
they
team.
don't know how to close out games. That's the only reason why they lose.
But where does that come from? I mean, is that coaching or is that the players? To me, that's coaching.
It's a bit of both.
Because first of all, you don't have enough veteran players on your team to direct the young players and be like, listen, all right, we won't do that because it's not really going. It's not going to produce winning for us. Like, the plays they run. It's just like, and then certain players they still keep, like TJ. What's his name? McConney. What's the boy last name? Like, he should be off the team.
TJ McConnell.
Are you serious? He's hanging on the team with number one draft picks. Come on, man. I mean, the kid is okay for what he is, but he's not going to lead them to the promised land. And they talk about he's the heart of the team. Well, that's the problem. If that's your heart, you ain't never going to know damn where. They stop playing with us, man. Markel Fultz may start. He may not start. He probably won't start for the rest of the season. He probably, just be honest, man. Tell us he's not going to start. But you know why they're doing it. It's all a money game. They paid all these money for these players. They want to get as much return on their investment as possible. How can you get return on your investment when you're not even playing the damn guy? He's not going to play this season at all.
Look, I personally cannot sit here and try to pretty much sugarcoat this, but You knew as a Sixer fan, you knew when he went down the worst. Like any Philadelphia fan or Sixer fan that follow this team knows, like that's the worst case scenario. We've seen it with Ben Simmons. We've seen it with Joel Embiid for 2 seasons. We've seen this run in a row. We have seen this game before, and just when we thought we picked Markelle Fultz, we do not have to deal with this anymore, it rears its ugly head. Now, there is a psychological thing that goes on in sports. It is a real thing. Even I'll give you baseball, for example. The simple thing of throwing the ball back to the pitcher as a catcher, you think, okay, you take that for granted. But for some, there's one cat that someone told me about. He was at it was a Mets tryout, and for the life of him, he caught the ball well, catch the pitch, but just as simple as throwing the ball back to the pitcher, he just for some reason just couldn't. He just couldn't do it. Overthrew him, out of the shot, whatever. Just couldn't. It was in his head. I don't know what's in Markelle's head. I don't know. We're not there. Nobody's there. His shot looks more broken than Donald Trump's pocketbook. But the
girls in Chick-fil-A, I can tell you that right now. He responded to one of the questions by saying, when he was in London, he said, "I know I'm gonna go to Chick-fil-A." You sound like a damn college kid.
Look, on Instagram, he's in his 20s.
I'm seeing him liking all these girls' pics and stuff. I'm like, okay, this dude ain't mature at all.
I'm not gonna get in that. I'm not gonna go into that at this point. But the bottom line is, you have a broke shot. There's an injury that we don't have a clue what's going on, and yet this team is still in the hunt to be in the playoffs. Yes, anybody would be afraid. Anybody would take the worst case scenario, which is right now. I think they reported that they're shelving him for the season. So, my thing is simply this: he has to work on that shot today. He has to figure out what's wrong with him today. I mean, we talked to his coaches and everything else. It's like they're baffled for some reason. We need to find out what the hell is wrong with this kid today. If it's a shoulder injury, fine, fix it. If it's something wrong with his psyche, get some therapy. Whatever the case may be, because I can tell you right now, I know the Flyers are up and down. I don't know if the
He's just immature, man. He's just immature. Some guys come into the league and they mature and they step up to the plate. Other guys like Jahlil Okafor go to clubs and get in fights and dumb stuff like that.
But you forget they're still college kids. They're still in the 20s. They're going to. Well, I said this earlier in this podcast. They're going to do early 20-year-old stuff. We've done it. It's about the mentoring that has to go on. And I don't know what's there.
That come from veterans. That's why you need veterans on your team. You need a veteran to pull his coattail and say, "Man, what the hell is you doing, man?
But
you about to mess up everything, man. You might mess up this team, mess up your own life, and have your family looking at you like, what the hell? No, man."
But let me reel back. Let me reel back where I need to be. The point is, it has to be fixed somewhere along the line. And the scouting department of the Philadelphia 76ers have to do a better job at literally finding the talent that will get you the results right away, and not this ongoing situation that we have had to endure for at least 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 years. This has the cycle must cease.
Well, I've got nothing to add other than, even though I don't take pleasure in saying this, hashtag Colin was right. I called that this man wouldn't play more than 15 games in his rookie year. You can run back the tapes of everybody arguing with me saying he would play, and I told you that they should basically redshirt him, because that's what the Sixers do, and they are redshirting him now. So See you next year, Markelle Fultz. Hopefully you have a shot. And this is why I said the Sixers, instead of trying to pursue Tyreek Evans, should have been pursuing Kemba Walker. I don't care about the fit. They need what the Sixers need is a person who can score buckets.
I like that. Kemba Walker. He's proven and he's hardworking.
You can teach defense. I need a score. You know what the Sixers are missing? A freaking third option. That's what they're missing. That's what they're missing. A freaking third option. And if Markelle Fultz needs a psychic evaluation or a therapist, let him see Nelson Aguilar's psychiatrist, because he got that man right. If he or she got that man right, he or she can get Markelle Fultz right. You know, it's about time. It's next year. If the Sixers can't get it fixed before the season starts next year, during the offseason, they need to get everything.
But I think that's hard to say, Colin, because
no, it's not hard to say.
No, but listen, because Nelson Aguilar has Doug Peterson. Brett Brown is not Doug Peterson.
Listen, man. I understand that he's not the coaching thing, but this is what I'll do for the Sixers. Like, Brett Brown, I believe, is in a contract year, so this is put up or shut up time for Brett Brown. If you gotta go get Mark Jackson, get Mark Jackson. It's about time, because unless you're telling me, and I do happen, unless LeBron James is coming in the summer, that's the only way I'd say, all right, sit him again for another year. But if LeBron James isn't coming, freak that. He by July, they need to, as soon as free agency starts, 4th of July weekend. As soon as, because I think it opens July 5th, July 6th. So as soon as free agency starts, they need to know right then and there, come July, they got 5 months to understand what's going on. And if they don't understand it by then, the Sixers have a lot of money to spend. Go get LeBron James. Go pursue Kemba Walker. Get yourself a third option. Stop playing. All right. So we're gonna move right along. I'm gonna throw these Colin curveballs. So we're gonna say the Eagles parade and the more deeper Eagles stuff for later on. And we're gonna answer these last 4, but we're gonna start with our individual segments. So Matt, go ahead and do your hot stove, and then.
No, you can kill the introduction, because I'm kind of pissed off right now. This is the slowest off season I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't believe the fact that, in my opinion, it's a whole slew of agents, but one agent in particular is slowing the process. And here it is. We're about a week away from spring training, and you got not a whole lot of big names signed because you try to hold out for max money. There's a problem going on right here, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Scott Boras, I understand you want max money for your clients. I understand that the baseball's been making a whole hell of a lot of money, but my problem is it's a slow behind off season, too slow for my liking, and I think there's a problem in Major League Baseball, and I think it's because of labor. Now I know they're trying to do everything to speed up the game and make the game more palatable for other teams, for people that or not the casual baseball fan. But there's a serious problem, and that problem has to be dealt with immediately. Mr. Manfred, sir, you better figure it out quickly, because as far as I'm concerned, this is too slow for me. Scott Boras, I'm looking at you too.
But hey, Matt, you got Russell Wilson was traded to the Yankees, and you got the Cleveland Indians changing their logo, so we're one step closer to that. It's not a total loss. Why am I doing your segment? And then for our last one of the day, Courtney, you go ahead and give us your reaction to the Super Bowl, because everybody else gave it on our show on Monday, which I believe you couldn't make. So go ahead and do your Super Bowl reaction.
I mean, it was a great game. It was a show. Like, there were like random back of the playbook play calls. Like, I just thought it was a really great game. And then the Eagles won and Brady lost, which just made it better. So, I really overall.
You right about that?
What'd you say?
I say you right about that.
I am. It was great, But yeah, no, it was overall a really, really good game. So like I was happy to have like a good competitive Super Bowl that also went my way.
All right, y'all. So, all right, y'all. To break up the monotony of Eagles. We'll start with what do we think of the mother who was disappointed her son didn't pick Alabama? And before anybody answers, I just want to reporting that. Andre, hold up before you say anything. Before y'all say anything about a mother that doesn't support her child and everything, let me hit y'all with the deeper reporting. It turns out, stop me if y'all heard this before, that this bull who picked Florida, now he's from Florida, right? I can respect that. But the deeper reporting is this. The reason the mother left is not because, not what most conspiracy theorists think, that she was being paid by Alabama or Tennessee and they were going to pay her to bring her son there. No, it wasn't that. It was more of a motherly concern. Apparently, this is why I said stop me if you heard this before. This is a big-time wide receiver with a gang affiliation. And she didn't want him to go to the University of Florida because she knew he would be with his gang, with his friends who are gang members, and it would either cost him his life or his scholarship. And that's why she didn't want him in Florida. So, with that knowledge, go ahead, Matt.
No, Colin, you gotta state your sources. Who are your sources? Not that you're not credible, and I love you, Colin, but I need to know where the source came from.
That sourcing is ESPN. ESPN, whoever does that top high school stuff, that sourcing is ESPN. And anybody else, they spoke with him, and that's what it was. It wasn't. No, I'm just gonna tell you, nobody stormed no mother. I know we all have mothers. Usually no mother storms off like that, without something being wrong. I'm just gonna say that with the choice of the school. But that is the reason why she stormed off. It had nothing to do with anything monetarily. So again, go ahead, Matt. Matt, you there? No, I guess not. Matter of fact, go ahead, Andre.
I mean, listen, we always got to take in consideration when we find out more facts. What I will say is, I don't care what the circumstance is, you don't do that. Like, first of all, you got to be classy, or however you handle any situation. You're on live TV, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. When you are black in America, you represent a whole culture. You don't just represent yourself. You don't just represent your son. So you got to do things in decency and order. And like, so you acting childish is the best way for you to communicate to your son. No, you have a deep, long talk with him. You move out there if you got to. Listen, this is your son. Like, if you care so profoundly about it, then you go to great lengths and you do whatever you can do. Because guess what? Trouble can find you anywhere. You could be on Mars and you'll find some trouble. It just is what it is. Like, and I hear, like, or if it's true, I mean, we still don't know, like, because ESPN's got stuff wrong. They're not, nothing's foolproof. Just because you reported on it doesn't make it foolproof. So, I still don't agree with the choice for her walking out. Now, if what they're saying is true, okay, I hear you. I take that in consideration. But you still gotta, I don't know, like, you can't live in fear. Like so many celebrities tell you, so many people who are successful in life, they'll tell you right away, fear is just fake things seeming real. It's now danger is very real. If I step off a ladder, gravity is gonna play a part. But I can't be afraid to jump off a ladder, and when I know something is there, it's gonna if I set it up right, I'm gonna be fine. I got to take the faith. You got to step out on faith sometimes. She really has to, I don't know, build a core around him. His coaches, she got to trust them, pray. I mean, just do something unconventional. Do something that you did everything you could in order to make your son safe. And after that, you can't really worry about it because these are grown adults. Like, parents take it way too far. They really think they got to control on their kids. You don't. I don't care how well you raise them, what's the best situation you put them in. You do not control your kids. You don't. That's why it's such a blessing when your kids do well and they exceed your expectations. Or on the other hand, they do horrible acts and you're just like, I don't know who the hell this person is.
Courtney?
I mean, I agree with Dre that like no, it was not appropriate for her to like get up and just leave. But I also feel like if she was gonna leave, she did it in the classiest of ways. She got up quietly, she didn't say anything, and she walked off. And I'm sure that there was a lot of emotions.
I gotta pause you there, Courtney. She walked right in front of the camera.
Well, I mean,
It wasn't like she
yeah,
walked and faded into the
yes,
background.
she did.
She
But
made
like,
sure they saw that she left.
okay, well, yes, but I mean, like, she could have like wilded out, and she didn't. So I'm giving her credit for that. Like, she didn't say anything to her. Like, she didn't say anything to her son. She
You're right
didn't make
about
a
that.
face. She just walked. She just got up. So yes, she walked in front of the camera. That was a little like nah, but like otherwise, whatever. That said, I agree. It still wasn't appropriate. But she probably was going through a lot of emotions, needed to get herself together because she did come back. She did give her son a hug. They did have that whole mother son moment. I guess the real question for me was how did she not know before that moment? Like, did he just make like a game time decision? Like they had all talked about Alabama, and then in that moment he was like, "No, I'm not feeling it." Was he not fully honest with her? Like I would just be curious to know if like how how did she not know that was happening? So I feel like a big decision like college. I know I talked to my mom about what college I was going to do. Like she knew where I was going before I announced where I was going. So I just feel like I just wonder like what went down and like what went down after all of that was said and done. But I can't say I blame her necessarily for walking out, all things considered.
Trey?
Well, when I first saw that video, I said, I was like, wow, a lot, I learned about some of the, he did that. And although she shouldn't have got up and walked away, the screen, I think if you whoever the commentator was or whatever, the PA, like he is like, who was that? And I think that's what anybody else had even really noticed. I mean, aside from
Yeah,
probably
I
the
think
camera.
it was a little. I agree with you, Clarence. I mean, Trey. That was BS. He knew exactly who it was that walked away. He was just trying to point it out. He knew who that was. How the hell he not gonna know who his mom's next to him?
Well, and that's why he pointed it out. And so what I'm saying, we didn't know what was, why, but he made a huge deal about it and made her look. And so people who now people, even now that we know, the reason why, and then apparently she came back as well. The information, a lot of people are not gonna be, because the announcer and made it obvious, walked away. So, to wait like that in front of the camera, you know, a lot of them more discreetly, like, you know, waited a few seconds and grabbed her purse or something, like she was going to go to the bathroom or something like that. It made it, so that it didn't embarrass her. But I think after understanding and being a Florida Gators fan, I understand concern about him going to Florida, because we have, in particular, one player on the Gators. It's wide receiver, slipping my mind right now, but he's been on and off the field, suspended and all that type of stuff because of off the field issues, not following team rules, potential, just people, that type of thing. So I can feel, I understand that sentiment. Um, Obviously, I'm not a parent, but I can understand that sentiment. Just that her is that she would rather him go somewhere where she knows, especially somewhere like Alabama, where she knows that. I mean, first of all, there's not much to do in Alabama, and that she felt that he'd be more safe. It would be a more, it was a environment in Alabama or Tennessee. But he made his decision. I think that's why, and I didn't see, came back. But what I heard is that she came back and sat down, reviews and whatever. So the fact that she probably, vented, said, okay, he made his decision. He's coming into he's a grown man now, and if that's, I'm gonna support his decision, um, and pray that he, while he's at University of Florida, and I hope he does, because if he does make the right decisions at University of Florida, I get to watch him score a lot of get to the NFL, because I'm a Gators fan, so I'll be cheering him on.
All right, Amina, go ahead.
This situation is just the mother, just straight up wrong in every capacity. This is just emasculation of her son. Like, women that have sons, especially black women, tend to coddle their sons and enforce strict rules on daughters in the black community. To a fault. Black women just don't want to let go of their sons. But at a certain point, it becomes necessary to let him have his room for necessary growth and development as a man. You cannot attempt, and you should not be running your adult son's life. It's just not happening. Now, because of his gang affiliations, I understand where she's coming from with his safety, but then again, he's not a child. A person picks what university they're going to before they make an announcement to the public, their friends, their family, etc. He knew where he was going from the jump. He had it picked out in his mind. Sure, he may have had discussions with his mother about possible school choices, but he had it in his mind already where he was going. And the school in Florida is furthest away from their home, which is obvious that there's situations going on between him and his mother over the years that she's not telling the public about. Who knows how controlling she is in that house? Who knows how overbearing she is? I understand loving your children. You want the best for your children. But if your child picks a university out of all the universities they got accepted to, if they pick the one that's furthest away from home, that's a reflection on the household they came from, in my opinion. That mother was very ignorant to do what she did. As black women, when we're out in public and whatnot, when we do things or say things as black women, we're not just representing ourselves as individuals, we're representing a sisterhood. So what she did on live television, that put a negative connotation associated with us out there. And I don't appreciate it because that's not how all black women act, but that's how she portrayed it to be. How the angry black woman story, the black woman that doesn't know how to control her emotions, the black woman that doesn't know how to think before she does things, no accountability, no responsibility. You raise your children up until a certain point. When they become adults, you let them go. Cut the umbilical cord. You cut it at birth, and then you have to cut it again when they get to be adults. You can't run your adult children's lives, especially your sons. It's emasculation. Stop trying to be an alpha male and tap into your femininity, because at the end of the day, you're tarnishing the relationship between you and your son because you don't know how to control yourself. There's got to be reasons as to why he chose the school that's furthest away from his hometown and didn't discuss it with his mother. I mean, I'd be very surprised if he ever speaks to her again, because that was straight up wrong. Like, don't do that. It's one thing to do that in front
Well,
of
hold up,
people.
Amina. Hold up, Amina. Two wrongs don't make it right. Like, you can't. That's still your mom, though. Like, you don't get another mom. Like, no woman that ever say my mom's please. She'd be my queen, but she'd not gonna say my mom please. So he shouldn't do that. I'm
Right.
not saying
But
go that
what
far.
I'm saying is that she did something to him that is on tape, it's on film, that people are sending all over the globe, that she did to him. It's not like she did it at a family function and at a family member's house, stormed out the house and left and came back. No, she decided to do this on television, live recording television.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would call what she did like storming off. Like I feel like she could have been much more dramatic about
It
it,
was
and she
tasteless and
wasn't.
it had no class.
Okay, yeah, but I also feel like yes, it was inappropriate. I will give you that, but I feel like given the emotions in the moment, like I don't think it's necessarily wrong, and I don't
But
think
Courtney, are you talking more
I
about like being ratchet?
You got to
yeah,
learn how to control your
But
emotions
see,
when you
why
get to
do
a certain
black
but
point
people
in
I
life.
always
also
think
but I also
unless we
but I also
ratchet,
think that
that's
she
then
could have
we're cool?
sat there and support a decision that she didn't support just because she's on TV. Like I don't think that we need to sit here and support every decision that an 18-year-old, 17-year-old guy makes just because he's the guy and I'm his mom and I have to let him be a man. I think that you need to let them know that you don't agree with that decision. And also let's be reminded that she did come back. She did give him a hug and all that stuff, but that doesn't seem to be talked
But
about. We
after
all
she
just
humiliated him on live television.
but she still came back and I feel like you don't have to agree with everything your child does to still love them. And I feel like, and I also wonder how much of that emotion was out of love.
And also the other thing is we got to keep in context is that they're from um, Florida, University closest to home. in terms because the three schools that he was Tennessee and University of Florida. Gainesville is an hour and a half, 2 hours away from actually probably less than that. So I think you had the granted maybe she shouldn't have walked out, but again back she gave her and I don't think that from his perspective I think he wanted to go to Florida and he thought that was the best decision. Maybe she didn't think that was the best. I think I'm only 20. I'm turning 21 next week, but I understand that you kind of want to make your own decisions, and your parents are kind of holding you to else other than what you want to do. So I can understand Copeland, but we also have to keep in perspective. Although he did choose Florida, and his mom would have rather him, Alabama or Tennessee, where she felt it was, is still relatively close to home. And from the mom's perspective, the reason why she walked out was, I think, out of love more so, and making it bet she decision. And also, I mean, imagine this. Imagine that he goes continue out with, or continues to have gang affiliation, and he gets shot and killed. She would feel a responsibility for his death because she would feel to stop him from making a poor decision, right? From her end, getting up and walking out she was probably emotional. She kind of made in terms of getting up and walking away. But in her head, she's thinking, what if what if he gets shot and killed? What if he goes to prison and loses his scholarship? She's not in her thought process. I mean, I don't know. We haven't heard any official statement from her. But if anything, I think her thought process is, and it's probably more about the safety of her child. And I don't know if he's the only, so I can't say that she's like, I can go with the sentiment, but I mean, I don't think it's, as bad as maybe some are making it out to be.
All right. Amina, were you done?
Yeah, I just feel as though it was wrong all around. If she had an issue with what decision he made as a man, she should have discussed that with him, not on live air. It's a time and a place for everything in life, and that was not the time and the place to show her lack of judgment. So, maturity, with age, is supposed to come maturity, and she's a parent, and it's unfortunate that she has not learned that key lesson in life as a parent of an adult child. So, my thing is, if she's trying to control what school he goes to, what else is she going to try to control, in his life? Like, his situation with his, if he gets married, if he becomes a parent, if he decides to move across the country, out the country, change of career goals, what else is she going to try to control? Things typically have a trickle down effect. So, you know, things establish history. So she should have discussed that with him. Not should not have reacted that way on live air. That was not right. I don't care how she felt about it. You're supposed to learn how to hold your composure as an adult in certain situations, and especially in a professional setting or on live television. That's what I gotta say about that.
Okay. Very. I'm gonna just say that I love the discussion here so far. I love that we have found a topic that there's not universal agreement or disagreement on, which is great because I love all of us on here. But there are a couple of times where I feel like we agree too much with different things, so it's good to have some disagreement. On my end, I'm gonna say this. I think initially, before I knew what the story was, this and to Dre's point, this is only part of the story. There may be a lot more to it, but I'm generally weary because and I just look at it from uh, journalism wise, it's definitely a better story to have a wide receiver with some gang affiliations because we know how most of the time how all that ends. I mean, we've seen it with Aaron Hernandez and different players, not even just football players, but basketball players. We've seen it with Allen Iverson. We've seen it with so many people who maintain a gang affiliation and wound up being worse off for it. So, it's definitely a story within itself if it's true. But I am just weary of that because the Philadelphia Eagles got rid of a wide receiver because of a gang affiliation that kept being maintained wherever the man went, which is Deshaun Jackson. And we all love Deshaun, but what happened to Deshaun Jackson to bring him the negative ear of the Eagles was the fact that his house was robbed, and most people believe there is no proof to this, but most people believe that it was an inside job. And there is just general concern with me when I hear about a big time athlete with a gang affiliation because we generally know how that ends. That generally ends with the athlete either broke as crap or dead. That's generally what happens with this. It doesn't end well for the athlete. So I can definitely understand the mother's apprehension about him being so close to home. Now, to Amina's point, like there's a time and a place for everything, and I think we all agree that she could have picked a better time than to walk off on national television on ESPN and have it broadcast everywhere and have people like us trying to interpret what the decision was. Now, obviously, we know it's deep because, like I told Andre before we started this, mothers don't just walk off for no reason. So it's deeper than probably the gang affiliation, as Amina pointed out. It's deeper. It's a lot deeper than what they're telling us. But as I'm not a parent either. None of us in here are. But it's just deep to know that your child has all this potential and they can ruin it based on friendship. And there's nobody saying that he's in a gang, but that his friends are. And it can really hurt your status as a player or as an athlete to have a gang affiliation, a la Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson has never really been able to find a place since Chip Kelly got rid of him for the gang affiliation. And right or wrong, that's why Deshaun Jackson is still not an Eagle today. And it's a shame, but it is what it is. And getting back on topic, it's just I understand the mother's emotion and everything, but I just want to say like it was the wrong place, wrong time to do that, and there was a better way to get that emotion out. So to wrap this up so we can get on out of here and be in kindness of your time. Uh let's move on to our last two questions, and we'll save the Super Bowl losing relevance, NBA supplanting the NFL, and the NCAA question for next week's hot takes. So we'll save those. Let's go on to why were the 2017 to 2018 Eagles able to connect with the city when other teams couldn't? Go ahead, Amina. Amina, you there?
Oh, sorry about that. I was on mute. I believe that this past season, 2017-2018 Eagles team was able to resonate with the city of Philadelphia because of its potential and the overall faith that held the team together, regardless to what you personally believe in as far as your convictions. Um, this team has players from all walks of life, all sorts of backgrounds. They come from various places around the country. So it's not a local team, so to speak. It's more like a national team on just one team. So it's a player on the team for everyone to be a fan of. To call that man or this man, oh, that's my favorite player. Um, this team represented hope for the city of Philadelphia for 2018, and how the team started off being called underdogs last training camp season last summer, going into preseason, still doubted, being told that they would finish fourth and last, which the Giants did, not the Eagles. And just defeating all odds, just proving people wrong, just going out there, taking one game at a time, and just going out there and getting it done, one game at a time, just getting it. So this whole season brought people together that previously would not have spoken to one another as far as sports fans. It's made the city a happier place since, I would say, playoff season, but especially since their Vikings game when the team blew them out 38-7. Um, this team has just made the city a happier place to be. I mean, the overall mood of people has changed since they won. I pray it continues for as long as possible with the impact of the win. But yeah, like this had to happen for Philadelphia eventually. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but it did. But Philadelphia needed it. I mean, to help live up to the city's motto or slogan, or whatever, brotherly and sisterly love, the city of that. That's what I say for that.
Right down the line. Go ahead, Troy.
Um, I think in many ways, players like Jason Kelsey, Brandon Graham, and a number of other players, they see themselves um, in Philly and vice versa. Philly sees themselves in a lot of these players. The whole underdog thing, to Philly, of course, you know, that idea that no one likes us. I mean, I was born in Philly, but I was raised in Delaware. But I mean, of course, I'm Philly, and I understand that mentality that no one likes us. Um, and so I think other cities, other didn't have that relationship with their fans that year, and I think I don't know. I keep thinking about Jason talked about Harry Roseman. He talked about all the things that analysts said about the players, Doug Peterson and how Mike Lombardi said he was, the worst coaching hire in NFL history. In 2 years, we've got a Super Bowl title. Is people want to Philly about if you were to count up all the Eagles fans just in Philly alone, and people who are acting, I mean, it's the difference is tremendous because they're destructive or more than likely we're straight up. But in general, I was on the Parkway and I'm watching on the screen, but we're shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of Eagles fans. You're high fiving strangers, screaming Eagles with strangers and having and that same conversation we had as fans is the same brotherhood that the season. And I think that they said we're not going to let I think 6 players all at key positions. You had Chris, your best special teams player, quarterback of your defense, Jason Peters, Hall of Fame left tackle, Carson Wentz, a stud quarterback who's probably gonna, if he plays the way he did this season, is gonna go down as a Hall of Fame quarterback. Darren Sproles, Hall of Fame running back, kick returner or punt returner. And I'm forgetting somebody, but I think the team as a whole said we're no way. We are gonna, we're gonna go all. I think when Carson Wentz went down, something changed. I don't think it changed, but I think they just got tighter as a unit and said, we got this. We trust Nick Foles to go and lead us as a team, even though Carson Wentz is on the bench and can't. And it just resonated with everybody. The fact that Jason Kelce's speech is the one that's a lot about Philly, as much as I don't like to cuss, but I got my clean version of that song, but he said it. He said, no one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. We're from Philly. Frickin' Philly. And if you were at the Parkway when people were going wild. People were chanting Jason Kelce. You can't even barely hear. And I'm just going, again, like I said, I think really resonate with the fans because a lot of the players see themselves in a lot of they see themselves in the fans in terms of how they grew up, or like Brandon Graham, everybody thought he was drafted too high, that type of thing. And then the fans see that and the players underdogs.
Courtney, so we're on why do you think from your DC perspective, why do you think the Eagles were able to connect so well with the city when other teams couldn't?
I'm not sure because I'm not, I am an outsider, so I'm not in the day-to-day minutia in Philadelphia, but just kind of what I can see from the outside, all the players seem very true and authentic to themselves. It doesn't feel like they're putting on airs. It doesn't feel like they're trying to make a statement or brag or be more than they are. And I just wonder if that just like authenticity kind of resonated with people in ways that maybe other teams aren't. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I think you guys are better able to answer this question than I am.
Dre, you got the floor, man.
Well, listen, it's pretty easy to answer this question. They're a blue collar team. Jason Kelsey said they underestimated us, and that's where we live at. Like, as dang. When you underestimate Philadelphia,
Andre, hold up. Okay, if I can interrupt, talk about that more, man. The blue collarness, because I think Courtney would say she got a blue collar team in the Baltimore Ravens. So talk about that. What do you mean by blue collar? Because I think what you're getting at is a little bit different than what other people's definition of blue collar working class team would be. So go ahead, because I'm sure Courtney would argue that she got a working class blue collar team in Baltimore too. So go ahead and describe that more for me. You probably were, but I just want you to describe that more for me.
I'll be glad to, Colin. What I mean by that is we have players that most teams probably didn't want. Like, they look past. They talked about our coach. So let's start there. Start at the helm. They said it was the worst hire. He was rated the lowest. Jason Kelsey said all this stuff in the speech. He said all of it. If you really want it, just listen to his speech. His speech summed up everything. That's why we call him the mayor. Because they counted us out. They talked bad about everybody. Jason Kelsey, he didn't play good last season. He stepped his game up. That's blue collarness right there. Working hard every day and dedicating yourself. When you number one in the league, like, what the hell do we have to do? We had the number one record in the league. And this is a fact. This is not an opinion. Nobody beat our record. Some people caught up and matched our record, but we never looked up. We always stayed on our path. And people just was running and chasing us the whole season. When they said the road to the Super Bowl came through Philadelphia, oh, hands down, they came through Philadelphia, baby. And when you got here, that crowd got louder than what you thought it was going to be. The Seahawks, come on, man. They built the stadium so they couldn't make the sound louder. That's cheating. Like them Patriots. It's so funny. People get so much credit for cheating. That's how sad the society is we live in nowadays. Hence Donald Trump. When I tell you our team works harder than anybody, and we don't underestimate anybody, we look at every game and say, we're taking it one game at a time. That's blue collarness. We don't look past anybody. We don't do like Pittsburgh and say, oh, yeah, we're looking forward to, the game after this. They're a little salty right now. They can take a page out of our book. And then our fans, man. Like, when I say some of the most loyal, dedicated, the only fans I can say is more loyal is Browns fans. Is how the hell do you have a parade when you go 0-16? I don't know. That's one thing we won't do. We will boo you. Like, what is going on? But we are not. We are not going to celebrate losing. We demand excellence. That's really blue collar. Chris Long. He's not a star. He's not a star. But he works hard. Did he come from a Super Bowl team? Yeah, he came from a Super Bowl team. But he's not like, I'll trade all my draft picks away to get Chris Long. No. So that's blue collar. Just listen to the speech. I'm telling you to sum everything up.
Listen, I believe they were able to connect because it's a story that you can find on Watson Sports Takes and Philly Christian Voice. My other plug. Trey, you got something?
Oh, okay. No. I just started I muted by accident. I was listening to the feature.
Yeah. So to start it, I believe that what you can find on WatsonSportsTakes.com. You can also find it on Philly Christian Voice. I wrote an article about this a while ago, and I believe it all comes back to this. It's called "The Eagles Are Flying." The headline is "The Eagles Are Flying High Due to the Ties That Bind." Now, if you're from the Christian background, you understand that the ties that bind is me doing a little wink wink because we have a song called "Blessed Be the Ties That Bind." And the Eagles put out a video, I believe, in early December, maybe late November, early December, basically around Thanksgiving, Black Friday, about the religious background of the team and how there are a whole lot of Christians on that team, from Doug Peterson on down, right? From Carson Wentz on down. Basically, the whole offense, some of the defense, people like Malcolm Jenkins, basically all of our leaders are Christians. So Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz, Malcolm Jenkins, a lot of Christians in that locker room, right? And, excuse me, that I believe is what happened. I believe at the heart of everything, I know some people will listen to this podcast and say, God doesn't care about football. They've been arguing this since Tim Tebow played. But let me tell you something. If you go back and you listen to after the Super Bowl, everybody in here will back me up. What did all of them say? When Doug Peterson got up there to the mic, what did he say? Glory and honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. What did Zach Ertz say? Glory and honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. The thing that brought this team together, sure, was the injury, sure, the stuff like that. That's the obvious. But when you're united around one unified thing of, it's deeper than just football. Not only are you a teammate to me, but you're a brother in the Lord. You're a sister.
We faith-based, baby. We faith-based.
You're in a different lane. And that's why this team is so different. It's kind of in a different lane when you have all those people. I'm not saying that the Phillies, the Flyers, and the 76ers don't have Christians on their team. I have no way of knowing that. But when you have a large contingent, there it is. There's that word I was looking for. Contingent of them in one place, it makes everything better. It's easier to come together when you're praying together, when you're eating meals together, when you're united in one common goal, not just as a football team, but as men outside of that. Because as we say, it's bigger than football, man. You got to live together. You got to save your money. And that's good. I mean, Amina's talked about it. Trey has talked about it. Dre's talked about it. I even think Courtney's talked about it at one point. Like, it's different when you're, when you're united like that. And that's what makes this team different. I mean, that's what allowed them to come together and say, all right, Carson went down. We're winning this not just for Carson. We're winning this for everybody. And it's just amazing. I mean, you had to be there. I mean, I know that, like people with the most recent championships here, the team is Courtney, because Courtney's team won in, what year was that? 2013, 2014? So, I mean, everybody's got a more recent story than the Eagles. But the Eagles, man, that was crazy. I mean, that just leads me into my next question. I'll start it. Why, what was it? What did the Eagles parade mean to you? And I guess for Courtney, what they're watching the Eagles parade, how they're watching the Eagles parade compared to, I don't know if you watched the Ravens parade when they won, I guess, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago? But if you could comment on it based on you winning, what you witnessed in Baltimore in comparison to what happened in Philly on Thursday. But being there, man, I mean, all three of us, Dre, Trey, and I may have rhymed, Dre, Trey, and I, we all were there in different sections of the city, of the parade route. And it was just amazing, man. I mean, Trey kind of talked about it. It was a communal event. Afterwards and even during, I kind of thought about a person who's no longer with us, who would have loved that parade. And Trey knows him, Dre know him, and I know him. A brother Kevin Parker, unfortunately, he passed away before the Eagles made their playoff run, but he loved the Eagles. And for a lot of us, that's what it was. Not only was it a great showing, but there were so many people who didn't live to see this that were diehard Eagles fans. Like two of my great uncle and my great aunt, they were huge Eagles fans, and they didn't get to see this. They died, unfortunately, 0201. So 7 years before this. There's so many people there that had stories like that said, like, I've been waiting. I talked to a woman who I think was about 80, and she said she's been waiting her whole life for this. I've been waiting 20 plus years. Dre been waiting 30 plus. Trey been waiting going on 21. Amina been waiting 24. Like, we've all been waiting for this. And just like, and that's there's been people that been waiting for 57 years. And it's just amazing what that did for the city. This city is united around this Eagles banner. We're excited. We finally got it. The no ring jokes is dead. It's just amazing. And that parade was a communal event. There really was no rowdiness. Nothing that really jumped off. It was great, man. I loved it. I loved that parade. I hope we can see some more. I hope the Eagles aren't like the Phillies, to their credit, they won one, then they went back. They lost to the evilest of the evil empires, the New York Yankees. But
you had police officers dancing. You know, they was jumping around excited. I ain't see that in the Ravens parade. No disrespect, Courtney. No disrespect.
But like it was amazing. And 57, 58, however long, 58 years they've been waiting. Nobody gets it right. It's 58. 58 years we've been waiting for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. And it's great. 13 years that we've been starting since a major sports team won. I mean, we're not really starting because Villanova just won a couple years ago, but a major sports team, 13 years. And we finally got it. And man, it's exciting. I don't know. I didn't go to the Phillies parade, but I talked to some people that were near me that went, and they said the Phillies parade was not this crazy. The Eagles brought out close to 1 million people. They're saying the early estimates is 700,000. We can tell you we were there. It was more than that. There was not no 700,000 people at that part. It was more like 1 million. And it was great. It was epic.
I'd say it was 2 million. It was a lot of people out there. It was not no 700,000.
Yeah. So, like I said, before we let the Eagles and the Raiders contingent go ahead, Courtney. You tell us, as you're the parade vet.
I'm gonna just let y'all speak, because I'm sure you guys have much more to say about it, and I unfortunately did not see the parade, so I'm gonna let y'all go for it.
All right. Well, then it goes back to you. Go ahead, Andre. Trey, you there? Go ahead, Trey.
My fault, Kyle. I'm here. What's the question? You said it so fast.
How you feel about the parade, man?
Oh. How do I feel about the parade?
Well, what did
jump on my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter, all that? I posted everywhere. Man, I said to the girl sitting next to Megan, I said, Megan, we gotta do this again next year. This is the best feeling in the world. Like, just look at it. Like, nobody cared about race. Nobody cared about origin, age, none of that. Like, we was just having a good time. We was dancing. We was singing. People were getting along. I was hugging people. I high-fived so many people. I hugged so many random people. My brother was like, you're going to be part of the Me Too movement. You keep hugging these women. It's like, chill. Don't say that. It was a lot of fun, man. It was just a great time with great people. I really can't wait to do it again. And to really try to put it into words is, kind of doesn't do it justice. You had to be there, man. If you missed it, you missed history. I I know people at home watch it on TV. I don't know how you could be a diehard fan and watch it on TV. I don't want to challenge anybody's fandom or fanaticism or whatever you want to call it, but I had to be there, man. Like, I understand the dudes that were saying, "Look, man, I quit my job, man. I had to come here. My boss told me I couldn't come. Forget that. Like, I'll find another job." And I guess if it's a job, yeah, you'll find another one. If it's a career, nah, you got to stay with your career. You can't, just leave. But man, I love my Eagles, man. Ride or die. Period.
Go ahead, Trey.
Well, I mean, it was such an awesome experience. Like, I didn't go, nor did I watch I didn't go to, nor did I watch the Phillies parade in um, um, the for I I've always been a Sixers fan, but is the second team, first team, whatever you want to call it. I always root for all Philly teams, but I'm also a Heat. When the Heat won, I I did. I was hyped, but it lasted a day, maybe a day and a half. Still hyped at this moment because the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and that parade, like, I literally, I told my manager that I had a doctor's appointment, so I was going to be late to work, like, just so I could go to the parade, and I went with, uh, she's my godmother, uh, um,
I love it, Trey. I love it.
yeah, man. The Kylan was talking about brother Kevin Parker. That was her husband. He's my godfather, so we were real close. He was a second father to me, and so for me, you know, thinking about him, and she was thinking. I could tell she was thinking about him while we were there together. But it was great for us to be there and celebrate the Eagles. And it was a great experience. People did some wild lampposts and whatever the case may be, but fiving strangers, high fiving people that you didn't realize were people that you knew, i.e., who was it? I don't know if y'all realized Jimmy James was there. He was the guy where he had the full Eagles outfit in there. I gave him a high five. Never realized it was him, but amazing experience to see. I mean, it had to be 1 million or more people. There's no way it was 700,000. And if you were there looking around, I mean, just at the Parkway alone, and if you were to kind of stand on your tippy toes and look around, there were people. I mean, there's people everywhere, and it's not like there's arm space. There were people, you're shoulder to shoulder with these people, just so we can support, the team that gave the Eagles, the first Super Bowl, and Eagles, and people kind of talk about, the fact that other championships, the Phillies won in 08, Villanova won in what was that, 2015 or 2000. But when you think about it, as far as major sports teams, Philly hasn't had 2008, and then you go back, I think before that it was 19 years one. And major sports teams in Philly really ever have they've always been solid. Most of them always been solid, but none of them have ever been like what we would call a dynasty, where you say, okay, this team, they won multiple. We're not Boston, or just alone more championships in the last, 60, 70 years than any. So the fact that the Eagles in a city where, I mean, obviously football choice, football town, that they went out and wanted, I just like, it was indescribable, man. Like, to the Parkway, I think we got to the Parkway at 9:45 ish, maybe 10, which is a whole hour and a half before the parade actually. Well, before the buses started driving to the Parkway until 1. Um, so the fact that all those people are out there in, what was it, 30-degree weather out there, says a lot about the city. And for me, it was just so amazing. Like, I didn't like it because it's like I said, I didn't go to the Philly watch it, so I don't understand. I mean, when I went to the parade, I said, "This is history. I gotta go." And when I got there, I was like, "Oh, this is like crazy."
Amina, take us home.
Yes. Concerning the Eagles parade that was on Thursday, I did not make that due to working and stuff. Um, Philadelphia is a special city when it comes to sports. Um, it's not Boston, it's not Chicago, it's not New York, it's not Los Angeles, it's not Oakland. It's Philly. The fans here you won't find anywhere else. Like the type of sports fans here, the quality of them, you won't find anywhere else. And the fact that Eagles fans in their 85-year franchise history have stood by them season after season, decade after decade. I mean,
We put 3 stadiums in one area. If that ain't
yeah,
crazy about sports, I don't know what else is. You can't go nowhere else and find that in the world, not just America, in the world.
what I was saying is that Philly is a special place. The quality of the fans are dynamic. They come back. I mean, I've seen some very very atrocious Eagles seasons where they won 3 games a season, 4 games, 5 games. weren't even talk uh, weren't even discussing playoffs. They were just discussing trying to make it through the season. I've seen the dumpster fire days of my childhood where the Eagles were the laughing stock of the NFL at some time. I've seen better days within the last 5 years since Nick Foles came on board to the organization. So I've seen a lot over the years, and for this to happen to the city out of nowhere, it's like I said to myself, I'm going to live to see the Eagles win their first Super Bowl. I said it's going to happen much later on in my life. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen like this soon, but to see the pictures of the people, it just the whole win brought families together. It brought friends together, people that weren't talking to each other for a while. They they reconnected and got back in contact. The win, the parade, it was all a culmination of a season that will be talked about for decades to come. I mean, they're already ranking this Super Bowl. I think is the second best Super Bowl ever. The NFL is. It's truly special. Like this parade meant more than a win. It meant a ray of hope for the city of Philadelphia because you have some cities, sports teams that went through dynasty eras. I mean, you got the Chicago Bulls in the '90s. You got the Boston Celtics back in the '60s and the '50s and '60s, and you got the Warriors right now with the last 4 years. In Oakland, you um got the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys back in the '90s. You got different sports teams all over the country that have had or currently having their dynasty eras. Philadelphia sports teams have never had that experience, and the fact that they may be on the brink of that with this win and this parade, it's truly, remarkable. And I pray that it's the start of something great because Philadelphia, truth be told, is in a win drought. Like Sixers, they haven't won a final since '83. Eagles, they just won their first Super Bowl. Phillies haven't won a World Series since 2008. I forgot the last time the Flyers won. But it's about time that Philly just gets on a winning streak, a winning path of success, and put all the years and decades of dumpster fire teams behind them and just look forward to the future. I mean, the future is theirs. They just got to take it. And the parade just brought together people of various backgrounds. It was a no judge zone. Like everybody came together in the spirit of unity, and that's what it's about. I mean, this city is about unity. It's a melting pot here of different cultures and stuff and things. So, congratulations once again to the Eagles, and hey, hopefully they'll win their second. But welcome to the Super Bowl table, and congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. So that wraps up our podcast. Definitely was a good one. A little long, but it was a good one. Once again, I apologize for the timing of it. We kind of lost track of time with some off-air conversations. That was completely my fault. I lost track of time, but I thank you guys for coming out. I thank Andre, thank Courtney, thank Matt, thank Trey, and I thank Amina. Definitely look forward to our conversations next week. As next weekend, everybody knows, not only is it Valentine's Day and we do have a birthday coming up on Wednesday. That would be Trey's. And it's also Black Panther weekend. So and All Star weekend. So y'all definitely stay tuned for some details. We still should have a podcast on Saturday. It might be a little bit later, depending on when all of us, if not all of us, whenever we see Black Panther, it might be delayed till Sunday. But I believe it'll be Saturday. So definitely stay tuned for details. I'll definitely keep everyone in here posted about it. But until then, fly Eagles fly. Have a great weekend. Thank you all. Deuces. Oh, make sure to comment in the section below comments too. Comments. But great weekend. Fly Eagles fly. Deuces.